Jai Hind everyone. Today I am going to start a new topic in program for problem solving, that is array. So as we know that it is one of the important topic which is being provided in the C language. So today I am going to cover the following topics, that is simply what are arrays and the various types of array. So first of all, why we need array? So as we know that till now in our programming, we are using, whenever we want to declare some variable, whenever we want to store some data, then we use only single variable, and within that variable we store certain value. For example, if I am using int a, I am writing int a equal to 10. Now if suppose I am having 5 integer values, so for that I have to declare 5 different types of integers like a, b, c, d, e, and one by one I have to take input within all these 5 integers either from the user, or I have to initialize them one by one in different steps. So the concept is, although I am using the same data type, but for that thing I require multiple names, and it is quite difficult to remember all these names in a single glitch. So the concept of array comes, as we know that to store 10 different elements we require 10 different variables. For 100 we require 100, and so it is better to use such a concept that anyhow I can reduce this large number. Although I cannot reduce the data because I have to work on the large data set, that is 10, 100, 200, 5,000, 10,000. But it will be quite easy for me if I can name that data set with a single name instead of naming that data set each and every single value with different names. So arrays are used to store all those kinds of data into it with a single name. So here comes the definition. What are arrays? Arrays are the collection of similar type of data. Means the data type which is being stored in array is of same type. Means if I am having a data set of 100 integers, in that particular case I can create an array and store all those 100 values in a single array. But if I am having certain data set which is having mixed data, suppose it is having integer and float, in that particular case I have to create multiple arrays to store multiple types of data. Means the array will only store single type of data within it. So elements of array are stored in contiguous memory locations, and it is a derived data type. So arrays comes under the derived data type. What are derived data type? Means the data types which are having similar features or properties as the primitive data types, but with some extensions. The behavior will remain same as those of primitive, but their working will be little bit different. So, but one thing we have to remember, that array must contain similar type of data within it. We cannot merge multiple kinds of data within an array. So now how to name, how to recognize all these data within an array? As I am having 5 different integer numbers, I will be using in the past the 5 different variables for storing those 5 numbers. But when I am using array, in that particular case the name will remain same. So for that case I need to recall all those data with some other method, and that method is the index value. So in array, the each and every element is being defined, is being stored at different index values, and with the help of all those index values array elements are being called. Now this is the syntax how to declare an array. So first it is data type, then array name, and in brackets it is the size. Means if suppose 5 elements are to be stored of same type, in that particular case similarly The type of data is being defined, the name of the array is defined, and within the brackets, size will be declared. For example, if I want to store 10 different elements of type integer, in that particular case, instead of declaring 10 different variables A, B, C, and so on, I simply write int, that is the integer type data, and for these 10 different elements, simply write a single name, that is A, which is being an array, and how many elements are being stored, that is 10. So array will store 10 different elements, and all the elements will be having same name, that is A. So instead of memorizing all the different names A, B, C, D, and so on, I only have to remember only one name, that is A, and along with it, I can access all the elements which are being stored in. And to access all the elements, the index value is being assigned, that is first element of array is being stored at 0th index, second at 1, then 2, and so on. So for storing 10 different elements, starting from A0 till A9, all 10 elements are being stored in proper sequence. Now comes the types of array. First is one-dimensional and second is multi-dimension. So one-dimension array means only one dimension, one bracket is given, and two multi-dimension array in there are multiple dimensions which can be used in C. Majorly we study 2-dimension and 3-dimension arrays, but there is no limit of dimensions specified in C, means you can take up to n dimensions in C. What is this n? It is not defined by C. This n can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20, 15. So whatever value of n you want to take, you can take that number. Now, one-dimensional arrays. What are one-dimensional arrays? Only one subscript is taken, means only one square bracket is allowed while declaring an array. For example, the syntax is data type, array name, and size. So here you can see there is only one subscript, means our data will get stored in a single column. We will be having one single column for storing the data, or a single row. In whatever format we are storing the data, either row wise or column wise, we will be having only either single row or single column for storing the data. How to declare? Int A10. So 10 elements are being stored of type integer. This is the memory representation, how your data will look like in memory. So A, starting from A0 till A9, A is the name of the array, and 0 till 9 are the position numbers, or you can say the index value through which we will call as different elements of the array. The array elements are being stored in a single column in this particular example, and all the elements are being stored in a sequence. Now here comes the property or characteristic of array, that all the elements must be stored in a proper sequence. Means, for example, if I am storing this element array, the address is 100, and as this is of integer type, so the next element will automatically get stored at 104. Next will be stored at 108. Next will be stored at 112. This is the address part in memory. Means in a proper sequence. That is the meaning of contiguous memory allocation. So this is the property of array, that whenever we want to store data in array, all the elements are being stored in a proper sequence, in a continuation. There must not be any gap present between that. On the other hand, we cannot leave any of the array cell blank. Means at every array index, we have to store certain value. If we do not have any data at particular cell, then simply put a 0. But you have to write 0 specifically. you cannot leave it blank. Means the gaps, the blanks are not allowed while we are working with arrays. So in this way, we can initialize an array, that is int a10 equals to, within curly brackets, you can write all the data, and the data will get stored in this sequence only into your array. As you can see, I have declared 1 to 10 here, and data is being stored in the same order in which the data is being given here. So in this way, you can initialize your one dimension array. Now, let us discuss one program how to implement array in C. So first of all, the header files are there, and now within the main function, you are initializing an array A10, A1 to 10. Now, it means that array is being having 10 different elements and all those values are being stored in array. Now, one by one, you will print the elements of array. For that, you have to write a loop for I equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. And in this, you will print AI. So, it will print all the elements of array one by one in the given sequence in the manner in which you have provided. Like this. The data will be printed like this. Now, how to take input from the user side and how to produce that at display. So, in array also, we can simply take input in the similar way as we take in the variable. But a single change is there, that is we have to take the input values repeated times. Means here we need multiple values being entered in a single name. So for that we have to write a scanf statement inside the loop so that we can take multiple values within the array. So for that, first of all, declaration statement is there. A is declared with 20 elements, that is the maximum element it can store within it. I is for the counting purpose, that is for loop, and N is the how many elements user want to enter. So first of all, enter the number of elements, that is total number of elements which user wants to enter is being asked, and it is being stored in N. After that, one by one, we ask user to enter all those elements. So here, loop is being written, I is 0, I is less than N. Means until and unless user specify all the N elements, it will continuously execute scanf statement in which it is written %d address of AI. So as soon as this loop is being executed, first I is 0. So here it is 0. Next, after updation I plus plus, I will become 1, it will become 1. So first element will get stored at I0, second will be stored at I1, next I2, and so on. For printing also the same process will be done, that simply write the loop and within that write the printf statement. It will print all the elements which are being entered by user in this part of the program. Now, here is the program if we want to insert a single element at a specific location in an array. For this, what we require the array. First of all, the array is being required. Then we require the position and the data which we want to insert at which position. And then we will insert and then print the data. So for this, first of all, the declaration statement is there. Then we are asking for the size of array, which we have already discussed in the previous program also. Then we have taken input from the user side, that is total number of elements in array. After that, before insertion, we will print the array. So till here, the program is same, which is being defined, which is being discussed in the previous slide also. Now, the concept comes how to insert a element in a array. So for that I need the number which is I want to insert in an array and the position at which I want to insert that data in the array. So for that the num and location is being asked from the user. After that, position is equals to location minus 1. Why it is being written? Because the exact position is 1 less than the being defined by the user. Because in array, as already discussed previously, the index value starts from 0. The first element of array gets stored at the 0th index value. So for storing 10 elements, the index values are 0 till 9. But if I talk about the general user, they always start counting generally from 1. So if I am saying I want to insert an element at 5th position, so I mean that I want to store that value. If I am having this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and if I want to store 9 at 5th position, it means I want to store that value 9 at which position? At place of 5. Because as per the general user, counting always starts from 1. So as per the user, the place where 5 is being stored is the 5th position. But as per the array concept, the index value of 5 is 4. Because first element starts storing at A0. 2 will be stored at index 1. This is index 2, index 3 and index 4. So as per the concept of array, the index value is 4, but as per the concept, as per the perception of user, position is 5. Okay. So for that purpose, this statement is being written. If you do not want to write this at this place, then directly write it in the loop also. That doesn't matter. Okay. Next, after specifying the index and position value, the different perceptions are now on the same platform. Now simply write the loop that I is equals to n minus 1, I less than equal to position, I minus minus, and ai plus 1 equal to ai. That is, in this particular loop, we are shifting all the elements of array one place forward so that a space can be created in between for the element which we want to insert. After the space is being created, now at the particular position, the required data is being stored by writing the statement a position is equals to num, and then increment the length of the array, that is n, which we have taken initially n from the user side. So initially user has provided the length of array 5. So now it is going to be 6. So you have to increase the length of the array also. After that, simply write the loop and print the elements of the array. Next, in the similar way, we can delete the element if we want to be deleted from the array, existing array. But for that, I only require the location. So if I want to delete a particular element present at a specific location, simply ask the location from the user. So up till here, what it is written, I have taken the input from the user, and then array is being printed before the deletion process is being started. Then location is being asked. Now, if location, that is deletion, is possible only if the location is available in between the index values. So your location must be greater than equal to 1 and less than equal to n. Then only we can delete a specific data from the array. So for I equal to location, I is less than n, elements are being shifted one place. forward so that that gap can be filled up, which is going to created after deletion of the element, as it is one of the property of array that we cannot leave any blank spaces in the array. We have to fill all the places, all the positions of array by certain value. If there is no value, then we have to put a 0. So for that purpose, we are shifting all the elements one place forward, and then we are reducing the size of array, because after deleting one element from the array, the size will be reduced by 1. So this is the process for deletion, and after that we will print the array. Next comes the two-dimensional array. Now what is two-dimensional array? The array which is having two subscripts like this. So the first subscript defines you rows, and second subscript defines you the column. So generally, if you want to give the example, the best example for two-dimension array is the matrix. The matrix can be solved using two-dimension array. Rows and columns are being defined if there are 2 rows and 3 columns. So your matrix will look like this, that is, it is having 2 rows and 3 columns. And this is the naming configuration that is based upon the index value. So first is the row index and second is the column index, because the sequence will remain this only, that is row followed by column. So in this manner only you will represent all the cells of the matrix. Again, in the memory also, all the elements are being stored in a similar fashion as 1D array, but here the index values are being doubled, that is row and column. Now how to represent this data in memory? So in memory, we store this data either in row major order or column major order. Means I can write this data if I am suppose having this value as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. If these are the data values which are being stored in these different cells. So if I am using row wise method, I will store this data as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the row wise method. But the second method which is being allowed here is the column wise method, which means I will store the data column wise, that is the data is now being stored as 1, 4, 2, 5, 3, 6. That is first column, second column and third column, and this is the column major representation. So you can go with either of the approaches for storing the data in memory for two-dimensional array. By default, the storage is row wise. We store data row wise. Next comes the initialization. Initialization also, it is the same as that of the 1D, that is, if I am having 2 rows and 5 columns, so 2 separate braces are being introduced to represent various rows. Means here data is being stored row wise, that is the default method. So all the data will be stored. This is the first row data and this is the second row data. Means if I write it in a general user method, it will be visible like this: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So this is the we generally write in the copies. Now here is the program to add two matrices. So first we have to take input in matrix. So here we will use two-dimension array. For two-dimension array, as we have two subscripts, we require two different loops. One loop is for row and another loop is for column. And as default is we use row method. So first, that is outer loop is generally used for rows and inner loop is generally used for columns. So here I have taken 3 matrices A, B, C, and the index value is being defined 5, 5. That is 5 rows and 5 columns. That is the maximum limit which is being set by the user. Now, first of all, we will ask for the order of the matrix. Now, for addition, the two matrices can only be added if the order of matrices is same. So here we require only single order which is being specified by user, and that we are going to store in m into n, m rows and n columns. So first outer loop is for rows, that is for 0 to m, and second inner loop is for columns, that is 0 to n. In it, we will take values aij, means data will be stored in array A. Next, in the second matrix also the same method will be followed, that is rows and columns. Number of rows and number of columns will remain same because we are performing addition of matrices, and here we will store data in the matrix B. Now we have two different matrices, one is named as A and another is named as B. Now what is the concept of addition of matrices? That the values which are present on the same cell will get added to each other. So again, two loops are being written, one for row and another is for column, and in that Cij is equals to Aij plus Bij, that is whatever value is present at 0 0 will be stored to 0 0 and will get stored to third array, that is C00, and after that print Cij after writing it in the loop I and j, and in this way you will get the matrix. For example, I have taken the order 2 cross 3. So 2 cross 3, total 6 elements are being taken in the first matrix. In the second matrix, 6 elements are being taken, and resultant matrix is this. So I hope the concept of matrices being clear to you all. In future, we will discuss some more complex topics. So these are some of the references from where the data has been taken. Thank you.